Phillies Cardinals game 1 at 2:07. Wheeler on the mound against Jose Quintana, fellas. This looks like it's going to be a very good matchup, a very good game. And Zach Wheeler, impressive season this year. 12-7, 2.82 ERA, 163 Ks in 153 innings, 221 OBA. It wasn't the year like we saw last year, but he was pretty damn close to what he did last year. And you just look at what he did in August. He had a little rough, but he also was dealing with some injuries. But September, y'all, 2 starts, 0.90 ERA, was flawless, 8 Ks in 10 innings. I know he wasn't pitching that many innings, but still very flawless in the amount of time he has. And he's going against a Cardinals team who he's had success against this season in 2 starts, 10 Ks and 14 innings, 9 hits, no earned runs, and a 1.80 batting average for Wheeler. And then Jose Quintana, he's on the mound, and Quintana, solid this season, surprisingly, even at the age of 33, 6-7, 2.93 ERA. Not really a strikeout pitcher, but a guy that when he's pitching and when he's on, as we saw in his last few starts against the Dodgers, where he had 6 strikeouts, and against the Brewers, where he had 7 strikeouts. When he's dialed in and locked in, he could give this Phillies team a run for their money. So we'll see what happens. But looking forward to game 1, y'all. We're going to get to the Phillies, but let's talk about the Cardinals. What do we expect from the Cardinals just in game 1? What do you expect them to try to do? And how do we think the Phillies are going to match up on the mound and at the plate with this team, especially in game 1? Because this is the game where you can really set the tone. And how we say it, like in basketball or in hockey, when it's game 1, you can still that home field advantage and really put pressure on the Cardinals. What should the Phillies be expecting from this Cardinals team? Because they're a pretty good offensive team as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jovan, when you look at the numbers, I mean, these are 2 very evenly matched teams offensively in the Phillies and the Cardinals, both, I think, 3rd and 4th in the NL in batting average this season. When you have Paul Goldschmidt, you have the Nolan Arenados, Tommy Edmonds. I mean, these are 3 guys that led, were in top 15 in the league in WARs. I mean, they have some really, really talented players on this squad in St. Louis. But the thing is, Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado have combined for, I believe, 14 strikeouts combined against the combination of Wheeler and Nola. So I think, this is going to be a very interesting series. They've been kind of quiet in September. Paul Goldschmidt hasn't really gotten the bat going as of late. Arenado has been up and down as well. So, can they get hot against these Phillies pitchers? I mean, if you're the Phillies, you have to be excited. You have Nola and Wheeler. I'm very curious to see how this St. Louis Cardinals lineup responds offensively and see where their big bats, if their big bats, come ready to go. Because, I mean, this is going to be an interesting series based on that front. So I'm looking forward to that matchup and the star power that we do have in this series on both lineups with the Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies. It's going to be very exciting to see. And the Phillies do lead the season series 4-3. So it's very, very evenly matched. I mean, only one more game they won than the Cardinals, but I'm looking for that lineup. What's that combination of Arenado and Goldschmidt going to do against these top 2 pitchers of the Phillies?
Good point. What about you, Harrison? Because like you said, that combination on Arenado and Goldschmidt, we saw how they were hitting earlier in the season. Like you said, they cooled off, but in the playoffs, don't take that long to get hot. And if you're hot and locked in, if those 2 are hot and locked in, watch out if you're the Phillies pitching.
It's an outstanding duo, and this is the time of year to do it. And both of these guys have some experience in postseason situations. So, it's certainly possible. But Nick makes a great point. They really have struggled against that combination of Nola and Wheeler. And I think just looking at Wheeler's last start versus the Cardinals in that July 3rd game, back on July 4th weekend, it was a really exciting weekend, Sunday Night Baseball. 7 scoreless innings for Wheeler in that outing. Really looked well. Phillies got a combined shutout, 4-0 win. I think that it really is. It's a great even matchup. I heard Nick mention that. That's just the truth. It's a very evenly matched. You could really look at these 2 lineups. Obviously, the Phillies definitely have a little bit more star power. There's some more familiar names, but you start looking at guys like Tommy Edman, Lars Nootbaar. It's kind of a toss-up. Obviously, they have their 2 pieces as well. They've got their big names. So I think the lineups are a toss-up. Where I really think the Phillies get the advantage is the starting pitching. I think having guys like Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola is where that defining point is. Jovan, you mentioned it. Jose Quintana has had a nice season this year. He's definitely been a nice addition for them. They acquired him from the Pirates at the trade deadline. But, I'm going to hedge my bets on Zach Wheeler in that one. If I'm picking between Zach Wheeler and Jose Quintana in a, must-win game, because in this best 2 out of 3 series, game 1 is so important. Getting off to a fast start is so important. There's no home field. It's all home field advantage for the Cardinals. There's no, let's wait till we get back home. Let's try to get that set. No, you got to jump out the gate and go win tomorrow, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that's really where the Phillies have their advantage. I'll tell you this, though. The Cardinals are definitely the better defensive team. Cardinals are an elite defensive team. They're a very sound defensive team. They always have been. And the Phillies have taken strides. They've definitely improved, but it's not, it's not perfect. It's not always pretty.
No.
So that could give you a little bit of concern if you're just looking for in a playoff series where things can come down to ninth inning. I mean, I think it was the Brewers a few years ago. They lost in the wild card game because of a defensive error in the ninth inning. Like it can happen. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, I would definitely lean Cardinals. But I do like this matchup. It's evenly matched up. Nick mentioned it. 4-3 season series. The Phillies, they snuck out of it with the win, but it's a great matchup. I think this is definitely going to be a very entertaining series.
It is, and I think this series, I think this is going to be one of those series, and I think we could probably say it about all the wild card matchups, just because how when you look at every team's pitching staff and just the players and on offense that all these teams have, this just screams this series, particular if we're just talking about the Phillies, where we're talking about they're going to be very close games. I don't see like a blowout, like one type of way. Like I feel like we're going to be like, oh, 7th inning, you're getting that feeling like, oh God, like here comes Sir Anthony Dominguez, and you're just sitting there, just like, all right, I hope this works out. Yep. Like you're going to be on the edge of your seat, and I think it's just because like y'all said, how evenly matched both of these teams are.